Hello everyone, welcome to my channel SW Metro official channel.
Meri and Robyn's simmering feud finally boiled over into an explosive showdown that left even Kody Brown, a man who thrives on control and dominance, visibly shocked and scrambling to regain order. What began as subtle digs and passive-aggressive remarks quickly spiraled into a full-throated confrontation where years of pent-up grievances poured out unchecked, as Meri, long relegated to the sidelines of both Kody's heart and the family's decisions, finally found her voice and refused to let Robyn continue to paint herself as the perpetual victim, and Robyn, who has carried the weight of accusations from fans and sister wives alike that she manipulates Kody and engineers divisions to maintain her own place as his favorite, lashed back with fiery intensity, accusing Meri of hypocrisy, bitterness, and of clinging to a marriage that had been dead for years, yet expecting sympathy when Kody inevitably drifted away. For years, Kody has been at the center of these dynamics, the man who once proudly proclaimed his love for plural marriage, who courted 4 wives with promises of unity and eternal family bonds, but as the years unfolded on sister wives, the cracks widened, with Christine leaving in 2021, Janelle following suit later, and Meri's marriage officially dissolved in 2023, leaving only Robyn legally tethered to Kody. Yet even as the dust settled from those separations, it was clear that the relationships among the women themselves were far from resolved, because Meri and Robyn once shared a close, almost sisterly bond, particularly when Robyn was first welcomed into the family, with Meri even playing a key role in encouraging Kody to court her. But over time that alliance curdled, leaving Meri feeling betrayed as Robyn seemed to ascend higher in Kody's affections while Meri was gradually pushed aside, until she was reduced to a background figure whose voice and presence carried little weight in family matters. This boiling resentment, mixed with years of unresolved trauma and hurt, all came crashing into the open during a family sit-down where financial issues surrounding Coyote Pass, lingering accusations about favoritism, and the ever-present wound of Kody's neglect collided in a perfect storm, as Meri, her voice trembling but firm, accused Robyn of gaslighting her, of presenting herself as the peacemaker when in reality she benefited from the chaos and division, because every time another wife left, Robyn's hold on Kody grew stronger, and Kody himself sat slack-jawed as Meri threw out phrases that cut to the bone. "You were supposed to be my friend, my sister, but you used me to climb to the top of Kody's world," a sentiment that reflected not only Meri's heartbreak but also the frustration of many fans who have long perceived Robyn as the manipulator behind the scenes. Robyn, usually tearful in these moments, did not retreat this time, instead rising with indignation, firing back at Meri by recounting the times she had offered her support, the holidays she tried to include her, the conversations where she begged Kody to show Meri compassion, and she accused Meri of rewriting history to make herself the eternal victim, insisting that she, too, had been vilified by the family and the public, unfairly cast as the villain when all she ever wanted was love, stability, and unity for her children. But the more Robyn defended herself, the more her voice cracked, and the less sympathy she drew, as Meri stood her ground with an uncharacteristic steeliness that stunned everyone in the room, especially Kody, who was accustomed to Meri being more passive and resigned, and suddenly the patriarch realized he was witnessing a shift in family dynamics he could not control, for Meri's rage had been building for over a decade, ignited by years of neglect, a catfishing scandal that left her emotionally isolated, and her eventual rejection by Kody, who bluntly told the world he no longer considered himself married to Meri. In that moment, all the suppressed humiliation and pain burst forth in words that could not be taken back, as Meri called out not only Robyn but also Kody himself, accusing them of rewriting the family narrative to suit their needs, portraying her as irrelevant when she was the one who sacrificed most in the beginning to make plural marriage work, the one who legally divorced Kody in 2014 so he could marry Robyn and adopt her children, a gesture she once thought was an act of love but which she now saw as the moment she signed away her own worth in the family. The raw honesty of her words left Kody stunned, unable to muster his usual defenses, because the truth of Meri's sacrifices was undeniable, and the fact that Robyn was now the only wife left standing seemed less like loyalty and more like strategy. The room grew tense as Robyn, wiping angry tears, snapped that she never asked for that sacrifice, that Meri chose it willingly, but Meri countered sharply that she had been emotionally manipulated into it, pressured under the guise of what's best for the family, when in reality it was what was best for Robyn and Kody, and the sting of that accusation landed heavily, reverberating like a bell toll signaling the end of any lingering bond between them. Kody, whose temper is legendary, raised his voice, trying to reclaim authority, telling the women to stop tearing each other apart, but his words rang hollow, because the truth was he had fostered the conditions for this conflict by neglecting the emotional needs of his wives, playing favorites, and refusing accountability, and now he was powerless to stop the explosion he had indirectly fueled. Fans watching the fallout will remember this as one of the most shocking moments in the family's history, because it wasn't just another argument over logistics or hurt feelings, it was the burial of a sisterhood, the undeniable proof that the dream of unity was gone forever. And as Meri stormed out, leaving Robyn sobbing and Kody slack in his chair, the symbolism was impossible to miss. The family that once prided itself on love multiplied had been reduced to shards of betrayal, resentment, and loneliness. In the aftermath, questions abound about whether Meri will finally sever all ties, not just with Kody but with Robyn as well, and whether Robyn can survive in her role as Kody's last remaining wife now that the other women are gone and her image has been irreparably damaged by the perception that she destroyed the family. And Kody himself faces the most uncomfortable truth of all, that in trying to control everything, he has lost nearly everyone, and the fiery battle between Meri and Robyn was not just about two women clashing, but about the implosion of a vision that was never sustainable, a family built on shaky promises, favoritism, and a patriarch who could never truly balance the scales of love. Kody Brown, visibly stunned into a rare and profound silence. This was not the dramatic, ratings-grabbing conflict he often orchestrated and refereed. This was the raw, unfiltered culmination of years of neglect, favoritism, and seething resentment, and it erupted not between the expected rivals, but between the two wives he believed were his most loyal allies, Meri and Robyn. The fight, a long simmering pot of bitterness that finally boiled over, did more than just expose the cracks in the family foundation. It revealed a cavernous void where trust and sisterhood were supposed to reside, leaving Kody as a helpless spectator to the collapse of his own kingdom, a king without allies, watching his queens turn on each other in a battle where he was the ultimate, and only, prize. For years, the family narrative, heavily curated by Kody and often amplified by Robyn, positioned Meri and Robyn as a united front. They were the wives who stayed, the ones who remained faithful to the principle and to the man, even as Janelle and Christine made their separate escapes to freedom and apparent happiness. Kody, in his profound self-absorption, interpreted this not as a testament to his magnetic leadership but as a given, a baseline expectation. He resided primarily with Robyn, enjoying the comforts of a functional marriage and a well-kept home, while offering Meri the crumbs of his attention, a perfunctory birthday dinner, an awkward lunch date, always from an emotional and physical distance mandated by his own ever-shifting COVID rules. He believed he had successfully compartmentalized his life. Robyn was his present and future, the obedient partner who soothed his ego, while Meri was a relic of the past, kept on the roster out of a sense of obligation and for the sake of the show's ongoing narrative. He never anticipated that the very isolation he imposed upon Meri would become the kindling for a fire that would threaten to consume his last remaining stronghold. The catalyst for the explosion was often something trivial, a comment about family resources, a miscommunication about a gathering, a perceived slight. But in the pressurized environment of the Brown family, trivialities are merely the spark, the fuel is a decade's worth of unspoken grievances. This particular fight began with a discussion about the family's properties on Coyote Pass, the barren symbol of their broken dream. Meri, perhaps feeling a fleeting surge of hope for inclusion or simply a need to assert her existence, voiced an opinion on the land division. Robyn, who has long positioned herself as the gatekeeper of Kody's energy and the family's peace, responded not with sisterly collaboration but with a dismissive, almost maternal condescension, treating Meri not as a co-wife but as a difficult child disrupting the harmony of her carefully managed household. She employed her classic tactics, tears welling in her eyes, a trembling voice speaking of stress and protecting Kody, framing any dissent as a personal attack on the family's fragile ecosystem, an ecosystem she and Kody had designed for themselves. But this time, Meri did not retreat. The years of watching Robyn enjoy the intimacy, the holidays, the everyday family life that she was denied had forged a hardened resolve beneath her often melancholic exterior. The tears that once manipulated Meri into submission now only served to incense her. In a voice sharp with a pain that had curdled into fury, Meri finally vocalized the truth that everyone saw but no one dared say, that Robyn's performance of loyalty was a carefully constructed fiction designed to monopolize Kody's affection and resources. She accused Robyn of being the primary architect of the family's disintegration, not its savior. She pointed to the infamous, marriage-ending phone call with the catfish, asking Robyn why she, the supposed best friend, had not answered her desperate calls that day, implying that Robyn's abandonment in that moment was strategic, leaving Meri isolated and vulnerable. She laid bare the painful irony of her position. She had stayed, loyal to the principal and to a man who offered her nothing, only to be treated.